All right, so I am going to try this, and we're going to see if I can handle preaching from down here. So if I can't, don't worry, I will never do it again. Please pray with me. God, move me aside. May the words of my mouth be acceptable to you, and the meditations of our hearts continue to propel us forward toward greater love of you and love of others. O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer, and God's people said, Amen. So in the last year, I'm going to give you a little bit of a mission update. We've packed over 1,000 hygiene bags. We have given thousands of diapers and wipes to moms in need through Cameron Community. We've given over 100, I don't know this number, of full-sized hygiene products, both to the Brighton Central School District, and they are still passing them out, and to Cameron to give away to people as needed. We did a food drive for Thanksgiving for the Pittsford Food Shelf. We hosted missionaries last summer and sent them support money. We collected more mittens, hats, and scarves than I could count. I stopped at 100 because I was overwhelmed with the turnout. We have built beds for sleep and heavenly peace. We've sent money to various organizations, including the Child Care Council, to help support positive growth and development to low-income children and daycare providers. We've sent money to Habitat for Humanity, and now we're going to have another opportunity next week to bring jams, jellies, and Chef Boyardee to the Center for Youth. They have a food shelf that directly helps youth that need extra support with food, housing, and life transitions. And today, we're packing snack bags for Cameron Community to hand out during their weekly street ministry. As a church, we embrace the idea that we can really impact those around us through service and stewarding our money well. But this is where you guys come in. Why do we do this? Why do we do our fifth Sunday projects? Why do we find it important to interrupt regular worship? You want to say it in the microphone?
To help others.
Any other ideas?
And because we expected to be here until 11 anyway, and why not get us then?
To capture you, I like it.
To be Jesus' hands and feet.
Yeah. Any other? All right, well, I have a whole list of reasons that include what you guys say. So part of why we do this specifically is to get all of our generations working together toward a common goal. Because not everybody can ride scooters in the gym and bond, but also not everybody can sit around and drink coffee and bond either. So it's really important for us as a church family with this many generations. We have from age 1 to age 99. It's really important that we all get to know each other. Part of why we do this is to also get to know each other. And when we sit down and talk to each other while we're doing the project, we get to know the most interesting facts and tidbits and also laugh. Part of why we do this is to help people get fed and to help them be clean and to give support for basic human rights and needs. And sometimes, yes, we need to get our hands and our feet moving. Sending money is great, but it's also really important that we are working toward a goal. And we interrupt regular worship because service is worship too. Worship is way bigger than 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on a Sunday. It's bigger than the music. No offense, the music is lovely. It's bigger than the sermon. I don't take offense to that. And it's bigger than the liturgy. Worship is bigger than even this community of people. It's way bigger than what's found in a bulletin on a Sunday. So, my next question If these Fifth Sunday projects have impacted you in some way, how? I would love to hear some feedback.
I have worked at a table with people I didn't know and met people I didn't know, so it was helpful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Betsy. Any other impacts? Jean, I know you've been impacted. I won't call you out. I won't make you say anything into a microphone. But Jean and I often...
I'm lucky enough to see the people as they receive our gifts. And it's heartwarming and so meaningful and backed by all of you. And hope that keeps going.
Yeah, Jean and I are lucky enough to be on the other end. It's so much fun to be able to bring it all. Anybody else have anything to share? So I have deeply enjoyed watching people help each other. I've loved seeing people working together and chatting. I've gotten to witness people getting to know new people. I've loved that. And the joy that Cameron has on the other end, or when I dropped the Brighton hygiene products off, they were floored. They called other people out, and they're like, they just asked us 3 weeks ago if we needed this. Look at everything they brought. They were floored that a church would show up in that way. That is not something that they've experienced before. So also, if you want to be on the other end, Cameron has a lot of opportunities for you to help serve and volunteer. They do serve meals again every day during the week, and also on their street ministry, on Tuesdays, they do accept volunteers to come and walk with them. They often have a medical personnel with them, and they take time with people who have need. They pray with them, they hand out items, and they also see if there's anything else that they can do for them. So we hope that on these Fifth Sundays that we are taking our time to equip others to love the community well. Not everybody is called to walk the street, but everyone is called to do something for those less fortunate, for those on the margins of society, and for those who reflect the very presence and face of God. Jesus says in Matthew 25, verses 34 through 40, "Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me.' Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?' And the king will answer them, 'Truly I tell you, just as you did to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me.'" As I mentioned earlier during our prayer requests, our granddaughter was born. And I am so completely in love with this little baby already. And of course, I want to spend time and I want to spend energy and effort serving her and their little family in ways that we can. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have aging parents who also need support. And we have young adult children who have questions and they're figuring life out, and we have young children who need a lot of support, and we are pulled in so many directions, as so many of you are. It can be really easy to shift from an outward mindset when we're here in church and we walk out those doors back to our inward, back to the people who are our family, back to the people who are closest to us. And that's a good thing, to take care of those who are closest. And sometimes we are in seasons where that's all we can do. That's our capacity. But There are other seasons when our capacity grows and God calls us to something more. For me, I know without a shadow of a doubt that family is not the only place that I am called to serve. And I would say it's probably not the only place all of us are called to serve. Serving those we love can be easy, not always. Serving those closest to us often feels like the right thing to do, but when God says to love our neighbors as ourselves, God is saying that we are to love others through these acts of service, through seeing our neighbors' needs as something just as important as our own needs, not only just toward our families. This is a side note and totally not on my manuscript. And this is not a braggy thing, it's just something I do. Part of my ministry is not in Brighton, and on Fridays, I'm part of Brockport Community Connection. And there was a family with a fire, and they were looking for beds. We happened to have a line on a twin-size bed, and it sat in our garage for months because their apartment was just so slow getting it ready. And finally, we were able to get the bed out and deliver it to this family. And I made my boys join me. I say make, because that is what it is. Sometimes we do have to force our children to show up for other people because they will not learn if we don't force them. So they were very displeased. We get there, and we're bringing the bed upstairs, and the kids are there was a family of 4, and they were just beyond excited because their little 5-year-old was going to have a bed to sleep in. And the boys changed immediately. They get back in the car, and they're like, they didn't have a bed. I said, you're right. Like, there are a lot of people in this world that don't have needs met. And they're like, but it was really hot out today. I'm like, because it was on one of those 100-degree days. I said, yeah, but think about, like, what we just did. And I'm hoping that through these little acts of service that my children become people who also want to serve others. The culture that we live in, though, doesn't do a good job of teaching us this. We can so easily get caught up with the busyness of life, the sports commitments, school and extracurriculars, parties and fun, and family, and on top of work, we're left with very little time. And I know that I've said it before, sometimes in that time we think about, oh, won't it be great when we retire? But I know some retired people in here that are just as busy today as they were when they were working, filling up their lives with just as much busyness as they could before. But now maybe it's grandchildren, or maybe it is different opportunities and parties and vacations. We get so stuck in this culture just looking at ourselves, and we're told self-care is of the utmost priority, and that is what we look at. But what if we stopped and we spent time and asked God how we could be a blessing to somebody daily? What if part of our morning routine was just to pray that God would show us somebody who needs a hand? What if we made a little room in our lives to look for and be open to the messy ministry that Reverend Peg talked about last week? If you missed that sermon, it's online. It's fantastic. Our church verse, which Carol read for us earlier, is, what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? How are you making time and space in your life to do justice? Are you taking time to look for a stranger? Are you welcoming others in a way that they can feel the love of God? I do know that there are many of you in here that do this regularly, who I would really like a few of you to share how you already serve the community around you. A couple of sentences, where and how, and I will try really hard not to call you out. But if you feel like sharing with us in different ways that you serve the community outside of the church, we would love to hear from you. Carol's got her hand up. You were somebody I was going to call out.
I have, for maybe 15 years or so now, volunteered at Matthew's Closet on Bay Street, right in the hood. We have referrals twice a week, and maybe have 20 appointments a day, and it's a wonderful charity. And it's a thrift shop, and we're open to the public also. I'm in the sorting room. And then I serve Meals on Wheels on Wednesdays. And then I have been volunteering at a hospice home, Shepherd Home in Penfield, but I'm taking some time off. But hopefully we'll go back there.
Thank you so much. Melissa, will you share Hope 585 too after Mike? Yeah.
I didn't really think much about it, but I actually help at the East Rochester Senior Center 3 days a week. I help set up things in the morning with the bingo, the euchre. As far as that goes, also helping people learn how to shoot pool. And I'll run up bingo cards for people and things of that nature 3 days a week.
Thank you for sharing. That's great.
So I do some work. Currently, I'm a little bit out of the loop of it, but through Hope 585, they have something called the Care Portal, and they focus on meeting direct needs of people who find themselves in the foster care system or about to be in the foster care system. Their main priority is keeping families together and not involved in the foster care system, but some of that requires direct meeting of needs as simple as a vacuum cleaner or, money and stuff like that. So I do work through Hope 585 with the Care Portal.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Candy.
Thanks to all of you. You're aware of the OWLS program, which is every Thursday. But you might not know that in addition to that, there's a storage unit that I have out in East Rochester filled with healthcare aids and walkers and canes and tables and anything you might need for a medical recovery or recuperation. In addition, I do in-home care as people need, and I try to stick to those who can't afford the service. So after they've been turned down by everybody else, I'll go help them with their shower and all of those things. But I thank you again for allowing me to continue the OWLS program, because although I positively was called to that service, no question about it, it's not a ministry, it's a gift. And I benefit from it each and every week.
And if you guys aren't aware, like half those big kids that come to OWLS don't attend church here at all, and they have this beautiful community all in their own. I love it. So these Fifth Sunday projects, they're just a small opportunity that we give to you to give back out of our abundance. They're an opportunity for us to put down our own rushed lives, to think about others who may need this support, to find community with one another, and to see that we can all take part serving the body of Christ inside and outside the church. If you have ideas of other mission opportunities, you are always invited to join the mission team. It is not an elite club. It is an open door to anybody who wants to join us. And there is always room. If you have questions, see Alyssa or Melissa, or you can chat with me about it. Please join me in prayer. God, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your grace. Inspire us to serve others both inside and outside our families and the church, sharing your love with all that we come into contact with. Amen.